This is day 35 of the government shutdown. Tomorrow will become the longest one in U.S. history. The shutdown is now affecting everything from food programs to airport efficiency and safety. Wendy Griffith has more.
As the stalemate continues on Capitol Hill, some lawmakers are discussing a bipartisan compromise. And Senate Majority Leader John Thune says he's hopeful a deal can be reached this week. Other lawmakers are less optimistic.
I don't know if the Democrats are ready. So, and I say this with respect, they won't get what they've asked for.
Mr. Art of the deal doesn't seem to understand that. He thinks he can bend reality. He thinks he can use hungry children as a bargaining chip against Democrats.
Monday, the Trump administration said it will use emergency funds to cover SNAP benefits after a judge's order to keep the nation's largest food aid program running. But the $4.5 billion in reserves is only enough to cover about half a month's worth of payouts, and it could take weeks or even months to distribute. Many families say they are out of money for food now.
It has been days where the kids eat and I'll just survive off water.
Some states are now stepping in to fill the gap, including Maryland's governor announcing $62 million to help cover November SNAP benefits. There's also growing concern at airports across the country. 13,000 air traffic controllers and more than 60,000 TSA agents are not getting paid.
I was in the airport for 7 hours, so it was pretty bad.
The GOP-led Senate has held 13 votes to reopen the government. But Democrats are holding out for an extension of Obamacare subsidies. Republicans say they're willing to negotiate once the government is reopened. President Trump told 60 Minutes he thinks the Democrats will come around eventually.
Schumer is a basket case, and he has nothing to lose. He's become, I just left Japan, he's become a kamikaze pilot.
Sounds like it's not going to get solved, the shutdown.
It's going to get solved, yeah. Oh, it's going to get solved.
How?
We'll get it solved. Eventually, they're going to have to vote.
And with the Thanksgiving travel rush just weeks away, a big concern revolves around air safety. Experts warn that air traffic controllers are already stretched thin and are now working weeks without a paycheck. Wendy Griffith, CBN News.
Well, let's go back to Kelly Wright at the White House. So, Kelly, forgive me for being cynical, but is the election that's happening today in New Jersey and Virginia the actual time clock for solving this problem? Are we going to see a deal tomorrow?
Gordon, look, I don't think you're being cynical at all, but we're all asking the same question. Senate Majority Leader John Thune believes that this will be resolved this week. He has not complied with what the president wants to do. The president wants to actually institute the nuclear option to remove the filibuster and get Congress to actually vote on getting the Republican congressional people to vote on getting the government back to running and operating. So it remains to be seen what the outcomes of these elections, if they'll have any impact on this shutdown whatsoever. The president places the blame squarely on the Democrats for this shutdown. And as you know, the Democrats are placing the blame on Mr. Trump as well as congressional Republicans.
Well, is it having any impact politically on the president or on the Republican Party on a larger scale?
Yeah, it is. Their ratings have gone down. Their approval ratings. The president is now seeing some of his lowest approval ratings ever, including his first term in office as the 45th president of the United States, now as the 47th president of the United States. Some of his approval ratings has dropped as low as 37%. But he basically remains committed to saying that he will not negotiate with the Democrats, that this will get resolved by the Democrats voting to come in and start that CR to get the government operating again. The president is looking forward to having that accomplished, but he remains adamant that this is something that he believes the Democrats are as he said, losing their minds.
Well, let me be simplistic about both sides. On the Democrat side, they don't want to have a vote on reopening the government until there's some kind of deal on subsidies for Obamacare. And the Republicans are saying, well, let's deal with that later. Right now, let's just vote on the funding authorization and then get the government open. Am I correct? Is that too simplistic a view?
No, actually, I'm glad you stated it that way, because that's as simplistic as you can make it. Now, here's the question that comes from that simple statement, which is so true. The Democrats are saying they want to do something to effectuate change for Obamacare to protect American citizens from having to pay exorbitant health care prices. However, they're fast losing that argument, because it's out the window now. It's now into November. November 21st, this is all said and done. It's a moot point. And then what did the Democrats fight for? What the president and what Republicans have stated all along is, come back to the table. We have a continuing resolution. Let's deal with this as things are, because Obamacare at that time was well funded, according to the Republicans. The Democrats took this time to break tradition and actually put the government into a shutdown. According to the Republicans, and the Democrats are saying that they will stand their ground. But as you know, Gordon, politics being what they are, many Republicans have stated that Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, as well as Hakeem Jeffries, they're all fighting to appease the progressives. And out in the public, there are a lot of Democrats saying, yeah, keep fighting the good fight. But what is the fight going to do when so many people are hurting and in pain at this hour?
Well, at this point, is the American public blaming the president? Are they blaming Congress? Are they blaming Republicans, or are they blaming Democrats?
If you talk to most Americans today, they're blaming everybody. The president is aware of that. Republicans are aware of it. Democrats are aware of it. I used to always talk about how my mother used to say, we're the adults in the room. And at this point, many people are calling on the president to be that adult, to get all of these leaders back into the Oval Office, sit down and hash out a plan to get something together so that the American people are not being inflicted upon with any more pain and duress. Air traffic controllers, SNAP programs, food insecurity, people just getting their government paycheck, or instead getting a government paycheck with zero, and then military members who are still asked to defend this nation and the freedoms we value around the world, and still not being able to have security in knowing that they're going to be paid for their service.
Well, Kelly, thanks so much for the insight. It's an interesting time in politics. It seems like it's so polarized that people can't even get together to shake hands, let alone pass legislation. So you're going to have a very busy week. Thanks for the insight again.